It seems to me, and I've thought about it. When I've thought about stopping, it seems to me like, well, I would miss something. It's like it's like a little dream in your head, and if it's you can't just shut it off. If you shut it off, it's not there, and life seems empty. There's only 50 cards in your deck tonight. I think that I since I was very young was really like a lot of people. I just was attracted to rock music. I went to concerts from very young, and I wanted to do what those people I saw on stage doing. You know, like Ozzy Osbourne and these big rock bands and stuff. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in Washington D.C. in the States, a city that has actually has a very good local music scene, which I discovered at around the age of 14 or 15. And when I was very young, going to these big concerts, it seemed impossible to make a band or something. But I was taken to I went to some much smaller shows in the local scene and thought, wow, look at that! You know, this is just people doing it, and I'd like to do that too. So started doing it. I remember very clearly in the beginning, starting out, and sort of it felt like everything that I was doing was like basically an imitation of someone else, and then but by continuing to do it, eventually I found my own voice. You know, it was I hope sort of distinct, and that was what was important. I think it's the same with writing or painting or any kind of endeavor like this. I think you have to start with a framework, and then you try to create your own voice, and that's very exciting when you feel it happen. You can also lose it. Sometimes it comes in and out, but that was what was important at the beginning. And I think one of the reasons why is I've also from an early age liked puzzle solving, and music and making songs is kind of like solving a puzzle. And I think that's what I like about the creative part of it. She's lost control. Voices sort of where and when and why. She's lost control. I've never noticed why or understand. She said, I've lost control again. Sometimes it seems like everything's changed. I mean, certainly, how people record, technology has changed so much. So it's like, well, it's completely different. But on the other hand, I think the motivation is probably the same. It's just there's different tools. There's computers and stuff like this, and to use to make music. But the motivation is the same. I mean, the idea is still to try to make something that is. Try to find your voice, to make something that is you. And so, even though we used to go on tour without cell phones, and I don't know how we did it. I don't know how we got from one place to another without a GPS, but we managed it. And now we have all those things, but we, I think the motivation though is the same. Well, at first, actually, really just it came from making new music again. Eli and I were talking, and he had a few tracks of songs that he had actually been working on for a while years ago, and then he heard of Paramount Styles, the second record, and he wrote me and said, "Hey, I love your voice, sounds great, and I love these songs, and what about you want to do something together?" And we kind of just started talking about it, and we're like, "Let's record these songs. Well, if we're going to record the songs, why don't we get to talk to the other guys, and why don't we make it Girls Against Boys maybe?" And so it just kind of evolved that we did that, and we sent some ideas back and forth, and everybody contributed in the end to different songs and brought in song ideas, and just like we did in the old days, really. And then as we're doing this, we're saying, hey, maybe we should play. It's 20 years since our first Touch and Go record came out, Venus Luxure, #1 Baby, and we're like, oh, why don't we do that? So it just kind of organically happened. It's not a record, but we have recorded 5 songs so far, which is pretty exciting for us anyway, because we didn't record since 2002. So, and it went pretty smoothly. And I think it sounds great. We've only put out 1 song so far, just through Pitchfork. It's free for download on SoundCloud and stuff. But it was great to do it again. It's like we still fit as a band when we're making the music, and it was kind of effortless in some ways, and it's just pretty fun to do. So we don't have a proper record, but these days I don't even know what a proper record is. I mean, we're just making music, and maybe we'll just put it all out one song at a time for free. I don't know. We haven't figured it out. Well, there's no record sales anymore anyway, so it's like from the first sale, it's free online anyway, because the first person to get it just puts it up there, and it's like so. And I know that we're not interested anymore in necessarily the whole like label idea and the promotional tours, and it goes with a lot of, you have to do a lot of things, and I think we kind of just want to do things our own way and figure out a way to do that, which plenty of people are also doing. But that in and of itself is a lot to learn about, because I'm not an expert on, doing music online and figuring out how to get it to people and things. So there's a whole other thing that will take years to learn. It's interesting to be playing Girls Against Boys music again when we play a lot of the stuff that we really we're making some new songs for the first time in a long time, but we play a lot of the old music, and it is interesting. How I perceive it has changed, and it continues to change. There's been like songs that in 1994 would have been on one place in the set list, like in the very beginning to get through, now or like later in the set list because they sound different in 2013 than they did back then. So the whole perception is different. The fact that we're doing this, I'm pretty pleased that I think some of the music still has like a relevance to it.
Yeah, I miss ya. Never expected this. Yeah, I miss ya. Take care of me.
I was back in New York because I lived in Paris for a while, and I was back in New York, and I'd spent so many years like in a practice space with like with recording devices and computers and stuff, trying to make songs, and I just thought, well, I'm just going to try to play guitar again, and just only guitar. Like if I can't make something I like just with an acoustic guitar, which all I have to do is carry around. I don't need a lot of plugs, or I don't need any headphones or microphones or anything. If I can make something that sounds pretty good to me like this, then maybe I can then put it in a band situation and just try to approach something like that. So again, it was just like a challenge to try to do something different, because when you stand in front of a loud guitar amp for years and years and years, you start to repeat yourself. So I just thought maybe I'll try something that where I feel a little bit uncomfortable and see what happens with it.
Take care of me.
Like Girls Against Boys is an old band. Even before we were doing this, I didn't know if people were going to come, if it was, if we'd have an audience or if we're not. I think you don't know. I mean, and sometimes in some places the audience is better than in others, so that hasn't changed either. Even back in the old days when the band was much more popular, you weren't popular everywhere, And and as to Paramount Styles, I don't really see where it fits in. I mean, the new, I just kind of do it and hope that it gets better, and that the sounds mature and the songs get better, and that the band also, same thing with Paramount Styles, that maybe Paramount Styles can find its own identity and voice as it goes on. So it's the same process as Girls Against Boys, but a different style of music. And so where it fits, I'm not really sure.
We found this crazy old man, and he said his name was David Yao.
Girls Against Boys, we're in New York, but we signed up with Touch and Go Records in 1992, really. First record came out in '93, but once we signed up, I knew the bands that were on the label. Jesus Lizard was playing in New York at CBGB's, which was where everybody played back then. And I talked to the owner of Touch and Go. I said, hey, can I go down and meet the guys? It was like, I'm a pretty big fan and stuff. I'm pretty excited. We were very excited to be on Touch and Go. So I went down there, and I remember very distinctly because I went backstage to meet them, and I walked up to David. I said, hey, I'm Scott, I'm in this band, Girls Against Boys, and it's like, we're on Touch and Go, and how he can be, he was like looking at me like, what's up with that band name? I don't like it. And I was like, all right, okay. But later on, we toured together and became very good friends.
Kill the bass player, kill both bass players, kill both fucking bass players. Kill the guitar player, kill Scott, kill Eli, kill me. This song is so hip right now. This song is so hip right now, I'm going down. How am I doing so far?
But that was great, just because the Donau Festival, the great festival there, gave us the opportunity to not only play, but to invite a few other artists to do things. And so it came to my mind that David is doing drawing and painting and lots of other fine arts, as you'd call it. And that festival specializes in that. It's not just a music festival. I thought this would be perfect because he could have an art show and get more exposure for some of his work, and he could also, a great old friend, we could play together, something totally unique that's only, at this festival. So that's what we did. It was a great opportunity, and we all had a great time. It is true that, I think that, at least for me, I'm much older, I have other responsibilities, so I don't really have time to keep up with music as much as I used to. It's not something that's as, how would I say this? I think when I was younger, it felt like the kind of music you liked, like our song, The Kind of Music You Like, it felt like the kind of music you like was important to your identity. But as you get older, it's kind of like you are who you are. Your experience becomes more important to your identity than the type of music that you listen to. But back then, it seemed like kind of a, to know about all the touch and go bands or something like that was like, it was part of your identity if you knew that. It was like it was part of a scene or something. And at 46 now, I don't really feel part of a scene anymore. I'm just an old man.
I want to kill that noise. Kill the noise, kill the house, kill the lights, kill the music and the sound. Kill the music, kill the house, kill the lights. Kill the drummer, he can't play. Kill the bass player, kill both bass players. This song is so hip right now, I'm going deaf. I want to kill the singer. Kill the singer. You don't make it alright. You don't make it alright. You don't make it alright. It's alright. You don't make it alright. Yeah, alright. So far, how am I doing so far? This kind of music really knocks me out, makes me swing. I want to kill the honeybees, kill the sugar, make it alright on us in a Texas. You don't make it alright. You don't make it alright, alright. You don't make it alright. You don't make it alright. Sex player. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so fucking much.